A dirty tricks campaign during the last federal election appears to have hit Vancouver Island. The so-called Robocall scandal resulted in voters receiving automated calls directing them to non-existent polling stations. As Kristen Robinson reports, opposition politicians are now demanding a government-ordered investigation.
Saanich Gulf Islands offers beautiful views and stunning scenery. And although it's one of the more affluent ridings in Canada, it was not immune to dirty tricks in the last election, according to the woman who turned it green.
Well, on May 2nd, 2011, voters in Saanich Gulf Islands received fake phone calls claiming to be from Elections Canada, telling people their polling stations had moved.
This is an automated message from Elections Canada. Due to a projected increase in voter turnout, your poll location has been changed.
Saanich Gulf Islands is one of more than 30 ridings across the country where voters received what have been dubbed robocalls. Under the Elections Act, it is illegal to tell voters to go to a wrong or non-existent polling station.
Your new voting location is at the old Quebec Street Mall.
The calls were traced back to an Edmonton-based company called Rack 9, which some Conservatives have used to arrange automatic phone calls. May claims it did not affect the outcome in her riding, which boasted 75% voter turnout. But she wants to know who's behind the voter suppression tactics.
This is actually a bigger scandal than the sponsorship scandal. We don't yet know who was responsible. The fact there were attempts made to subvert people's right to vote and that these occurred in a systematic way in ridings across the country is deeply concerning, and we need an inquiry.
May claims the robocall scandal was rooted in Saanich Gulf Islands in 2008.
Hello?
When voters received automated calls a day before the election asking them to support NDP candidate Julian West, who had withdrawn from the race. Caller ID displayed the NDP Riding Association fax number, but that was false. West ended up getting more than 3,600 votes, and Conservative Gary Lunn won the seat by 2,600 votes over Liberal Brian E. Penn. An Elections Canada investigation found no one's vote had been influenced by the call, but was unable to identify the source.
This whole thing is about trying to stop people from voting.
When is the Prime Minister of Canada going to take some degree of personal responsibility for what is taking place in the country?
We certainly have information in some cases. We've given that to Elections Canada. If they have any information, I challenge them to produce that information, give it to Elections Canada.
The Conservatives say when they made calls, it was to inform supporters when polling stations changed, not to suppress the support of their opponents. While any complaints are with RCMP and Elections Canada, there are increasing calls for a public inquiry to determine who was on the line trying to keep Canadians from voting.